Welcome to the Honest Dog Breeder Podcast with me, your host, Julie Swan, where each week we dive in to discuss all things dog breeding so you can build a breeding business you love, producing dogs that fulfill their owners' dreams. I believe you can have an honest dog breeding program that also pays the bills. So throw those pods in your ears while you're cleaning kennels. I'd love to join you. You guys are in for a treat today. Today we have my very own Dakotah and Hunter of Bear Paw Ranch. They are my kids, poor souls. Anyway,
There.
today we're going to talk about life being the kids of a dog breeder, in particular me, and what that's like. So thanks for coming on, kiddos. All
No
right.
problem at all. It was a
So,
pleasure.
so to start, so I started breeding, and I had my first three litters when Hunter was still in the oven cooking. So, Hunter, you don't really know life, not as a dog breeder.
I
And
don't.
you were about 18 months old when I had the first set of litters. So, Dakotah, what's your first memory of dog breeding? Do you have any?
Probably. I don't know. There's so many dog breeding memories.
So many dog breeding memories. Yeah. Oh, that's good. What about you, Hunter? Do you remember the first time? First thing from dog breeding, or was it just always there?
I think I remember like some of the first times I watered the dogs, but that's it.
That's it. Yeah. And so, why don't you go ahead and share with us? So, what are your responsibilities with dog breeding? We'll start. Hunter, do you want to say what you do first?
Sure. Um, so I water the dogs every day.
Mhm.
I have, except for every other weekend when I'm with my dad, but I have done this for three and a half years or something.
I think it's closer to 5.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you've been in charge of water for 5 years. So, is there a better time or worse time in the year with watering?
Worst time in the year is probably winter
Why is that?
because sometimes the hose freezes and you can't do anything.
Mm.
And when it doesn't freeze, so you get yourself wet, it's cold.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cold.
And you get those weird icicles coming out of the hose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
That I pick up and throw to Dakotah. And speaking of Dakotah,
And Dakotah, you want to tell us what you do?
yes, I feed the dogs. And it is pretty much great all throughout the year, unless it's somewhere in 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, then it's just like sticky and gross, right? Yeah. So, what's your favorite part of feeding?
My favorite part is probably seeing how happy the dogs get when we're there with the food.
Yeah, that is kind of their favorite part of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you learned anything from doing all the feeding?
That how fast my memory can memorize things.
So, what do you mean?
Like whenever we change the scoop amount on for one of the dog pens, like that it's memorized.
Hmm. You just know the new stuff. This dog needs more food. This dog needs less food. Do you end up adjusting things if you see a dog is underweight or overweight?
I do. Yeah, remember that one time when we were boarding Ilsa and she was getting fat because she was like not used to the such high calorie food that was
Yeah.
recommended to them for the dog. So she did get a little fat. So I went from 2 scoops to 1 scoop because she was getting a little fat.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So, all right. So, what is the best part of breeding dogs?
I'm gonna go first on this one. I would say the best part about breeding dogs is probably when the puppies are a week old and they're so fluffy and cute. Like you just wanna, it's cute, it's called cuteness aggression. Something I get when the puppies are a week to 2 weeks old.
Cuteness, aggression.
Yes, like you start getting like to the point they're so cute you want to squeeze them.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. But we
Gotta
don't.
squeeze until they
We
pop up.
don't. No squeezing. No squeezing.
What about you, Hunter? What's your favorite part?
Seeing how happy like the kids and some of the families are when they first see their puppy.
Yeah. It's fun, isn't it? What do you think the kids, they get like, what do you think when the kids look at them the first time?
Excited.
Yeah, they're excited, but they're, sometimes it's funny when they're kind of nervous too, right? Have you noticed that? And they're like, oh, I don't know how to hold it. That's always fun.
How do I
Yeah,
hold
it's
this?
funny.
It's very sweet.
One thing I noticed about a year or two ago is that not all kids know how to hold puppies.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely something you learn.
So yeah, that's one thing I noticed that is not normal.
Yeah, it
But
is.
I thought
It's
it was normal.
definitely something that's learned, right? But you learned it so young, you probably forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think that it's a mandatory thing to know.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about the worst thing in dog breeding?
The
What do you hate
worst
the most?
thing.
I would say that it's probably the worst thing in dog breeding is when the puppies are like 6.5 to 8 weeks old, and they're in that window of susceptibility, and you have to be very careful on possible cross contaminations of anything.
Yeah.
And then also when they're in their stage of weaning and they stink. They smell.
Oh, when they start eating dog food and then they start pooping more and mom stops cleaning up after them. Yeah, that can be really bad, right? Yes, I
Stink sometimes.
totally agree with you. What about you, Hunter? What's your least favorite part of dog breeding?
Least favorite, probably, I probably kind of have to agree with Dakota here, but also the Velociraptor stage, like almost when they go home,
Hmm. And what do you mean by Velociraptor stage?
they will bite everything because it hurts because their teeth are trying to come in, but their teeth haven't came out, so they're trying to bite everything to get their teeth out, and
You
that
mean,
includes your legs.
oh yeah, when they're well, their teeth are out at that time, right? But they're like sharp teeth, shark teeth. Yeah, yeah, the shark teeth phase is really painful, isn't it? They catch
And
on.
good for the dog and for me.
Right. Right, exactly.
I call it the Velociraptor stage and the land shark stage. They're literally just swimming around in air, like, ooh, what should I eat next?
Yeah, fingers, toes. Yes, exactly.
Hair, ears.
Yes, that part is pretty frustrating. Dakota, recently you raised an entire rat terrier litter in your bedroom. How was that?
It was pretty fun, except for the random screaming at the devil's hour, aka 3 a.m.
That's what was happening at that time.
They were like midway through the weaning process. They hadn't really adapted to solid food yet,
Mm-hmm.
so they needed their mom didn't stick with them.
Because she likes
Like
with you.
nurse, yeah, she sleeps with me. She didn't nurse enough before bed, and then they started screaming at 3 a.m. and woke pretty much everybody up.
Yeah, there was that. It was maybe not the most ideal to let them in your bedroom for that time.
Woke
But
everybody up. You mean kept me up?
so you're saying you didn't get any sleep for those weeks? Is that?
Oh,
No.
I got a little bit of sleep. A little bit.
To be fair, the other side of the wall where the puppies were was where your headboard is, so that could happen.
Yeah, on my bed.
It was definitely a learning experience because um well, it was definitely a learning experience on that. So there was a few nights, maybe just 3 nights, where it was a little hard to sleep at times. One night, the puppies woke me up 3 times.
Hmm. Yep. And then did you just get their mom down there so that they could nurse so you guys could go back to bed?
I did, but I had to kind of keep her in there because she kept trying to jump out as soon as I put her in there.
Oh yeah, because she was kind of done. She was like Ready to be done.
She's like, I'm done. They have teeth now. Like, I don't want the teeth anymore.
Right. Well, that makes sense. So, anything you would do different if you were raising another litter?
I'd probably try to keep it more like washing stuff pretty much every other day because I got pretty messy.
Yeah, they get pretty messy really fast. I know. It's almost nice to have more blankets to turn over, so you can, or bedding to change more frequently. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, Dakota pretty much did that whole litter by herself. So I barely, I mean, came in and checked on them, but she already had it covered. I noticed you took them out a lot and held them
Yes.
while you were on Zoom calls for school and some other stuff. And um, I think that worked out really well. They seemed very happy.
They seemed a lot more like, oh my God, people, uppies, uppies, uppies.
Yeah, they were a lot more people focused than some of our other litters, which I thought was really fantastic.
And I
So,
also gotta tell you one thing.
hmm.
I did like let them out and roam my room a little bit.
Mhm.
And I think that made them also really like playful and curious.
Yeah, because you just had so much stuff to find.
Yeah, and I once found a puppy in I crochet, okay? I have a lot of like yarn cubbies, right?
Mhm.
So one puppy was able to get in there and just like snuggle up and take a nap in my yarn cubby. Have a picture we could probably put somewhere.
We can put it in the show notes. Yes.
Yes.
Yep, that'll be perfect. Yeah. So I think that good. Would you do it again?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about long term? Would you do breeding or you think it's just something that's fun while you're here with me and you'll do something else?
I mean, that really depends on what I choose my future career to be. Like, I haven't really thought on that much, but
Yeah.
I definitely think it could be like a long-term thing.
Yeah. I do remember one time when you were like 5 or 6 and you were like, I have no interest in dog breeding. And I was like, okay, it was fine. But you did make some money on this litter. So was that nice?
Yes.
Yeah. So is it maybe worth it for that for a little bit? Yeah.
Um, I really made a lot of money raising those puppies, so I would totally like continue doing it. Like, the payout is pretty good for the Velociraptor and land shark phase.
So it weighs out, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense. What about you, Hunter? Do you think there's any interest in breeding, or are you like, good, don't want to do that later?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah. This is fun. I'm glad to be done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably wouldn't move on. That's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah, and that's fine. You got other stuff you're working on. What about with your friends when you tell them we breed dogs? What do they think? Do they think it's cool? Do they think it's weird?
I think there's a stereotypical thing that a couple of really big companies have put out that a lot of people believe that it's just not true about dog breeding, that like all dog breeders are bad people, you should adopt from shelters and but a lot of the stuff from shelters is just not good. With
I
a
mean,
breeder, you know what actually is your dog. Because I've seen a lot of dogs and people are like, oh, I don't even know what it is. It's a shelter pet. Don't even know what the breed is.
it is kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I like knowing what my dog is.
Yeah, I think so. So do your friends look at you like, oh no, your guys breed dogs. You might be bad people. Do you get that from them?
Not usually, but sometimes it can occur.
Yeah, it's happened a couple times.
Yeah.
Do you have to explain it or do you just kind of blow it off?
Uh, like close friends or like just friends?
I don't know. You tell me.
Because my close friends, I blow it off because we're
Yeah,
doing something usually.
but
But with friends, I'm like, well, that's just not what dog breeders usually are. That's backyard breeders.
That's fair. Yeah. Do they look at you like, okay, whatever, or are they interested in what you say?
Usually they're interested.
That's good. I imagine it's kind of hit or miss. Yeah. What do you think, Dakota? Have you run into that, like getting flack from people because we breed dogs?
All my friends think dog breeding's really cool.
So is there something you pitch to them when you explain it that is working?
I don't think so. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is what happens when I meet new people. I'm like, yeah, if they ask me what like my mom does for work, and I'm just like, oh yeah, she's a dog breeder. She has a podcast. She's pretty good at it. I don't necessarily think that people dislike dog breeding. It's more so the fact that they're thinking like, oh, but what about all those poor traumatized shelter pets?
Yeah, that makes sense. So they have this idea that it's that we would maybe be contributing to that problem or taking away homes from those dogs, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you end up sharing some of the stuff you know about it and do they listen or is it kind of like whatever?
Well, after I mentioned that you're a dog breeder, we pretty much just let it go. Like, I've never really had anybody that's super interested in it.
That's fair. Yeah. So you're not getting like it's not a painful experience that you are the child of a dog breeder in a dog breeding world.
No.
That's good. Not for you either, Hunter. It's not too painful.
Yeah.
No.
The worst part, one of the worst parts that I've kind of like completely like at this point, it's so normal for me that it's kind of stopped hurting.
Mhm.
It's like when a dog that I'm playing with a lot goes home, but I've kind of lost emotion for that because it's happened so many times. So it doesn't hurt me no more.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you as much. How did you deal with that?
Oh, I just kind of thought to myself, well, it's better for the dog.
Yeah, 'cause they be in a home with like one-on-one.
Yeah.
Hmm. I know that
Instead,
was hard. It was hard with Jack, right?
yeah, I
Mhm.
like Jack.
He was a cool dog, but he did get a cool home.
Yeah, he's
Hmm.
good. Good boy.
He was a good boy. What about you, Scoops? Does that bother you as much?
With rehoming
Yeah,
dogs,
especially like the ones that we've had longer.
I mean, after being in the program since it started, no.
Mhm.
I think Reggie was a lot though.
Yeah, rehoming Reggie was hard. I think it was just hard to let her go because she was the first dog we kept and we'd had her forever.
It was forever.
It was, yeah. But again, she's in a really good home. But I think that was hard on all of us, but ultimately better for Reggie.
Now she gets to be a couch potato.
Yeah, exactly. She's fat and happy and has a 3-year-old who climbs all over her. So that's good.
4-year-old by now.
Probably. Yeah. Um, what else? What else is weird with dog breeding? Do you find that you can do more stuff than other kids, or do you find that there's different things that are a big deal to you or not a big deal to you that you notice with other kids? What about you, Dakota? Anything else you can think of that was different for you, maybe compared to other kids because we dog breed?
Definitely seeing body language when people say that their dog like absolutely loves them and then like their dog's like imprinted on them.
Mhm.
And then I see the dog's body language when they're like snuggled up, like having the dog like this. And you can tell sometimes the dog is just like uncomfortable or doesn't want to be there.
Good.
Also, when
Yeah.
people get mad at their dogs for doing something that's like normal dog behavior,
That kind of bother you.
just a little bit.
I think it is hard because you get to a place where you sort of understand dogs on a different level, and it's almost like you can speak their language a little bit more. And so I imagine it is a little hard at other people's houses sometimes. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the chores? Ultimately, you guys do dog poop. You help me out. How many times have I handed you puppies? Will I need to go do paperwork or something else?
A good amount of times. The chores don't really bother me at all because they don't feel like chores.
Just part of life.
Maybe except the dog poop, but
That's fair.
I don't mind dog poop actually, because it doesn't take much brain power for me, which means that I just think about other stuff.
Yeah. So it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I don't understand why Dakota is always like, oh my God.
well, that's because you gotta come at get me at random times
So,
in the day. Like today, you wanted to do it at 11 when it was cold outside and I did not want to go outside. No, too cold for that. Too cold for that.
Anything else you've learned from dog breeding that has changed the way you think about things?
I think I appreciate a couple things more than some kids do
Hmm.
because I understand it more. Like, I understand what people do
Can
more
you,
than maybe some kids do.
can you give an example?
Like, say, on the topic of dog breeding, getting a dog. Like, some kids, yeah, usually kids are excited, but some kids just, like, they're excited and they blow it off in one day. But I've seen how hard, like, breeders, because I've seen how hard some people work to do that stuff.
Mhm.
But when I see a dog, like a nice dog from a breeder, I'm always happy that we didn't get, like, some weird conglomeration backyard scientists.
Backyard
Yeah. You
scientist.
kind of appreciate the work that goes into the breeding because you see what goes into it, is what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
I see the work that some of the breeders do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it?
Hmm.
A lot of cleaning. Oh, so much cleaning.
There is a good amount of that.
Yeah. So do we love it? Do we hate it?
Love it.
Think it's
Mix.
mixed.
Mix.
Yeah, it's got its good days and bad days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you guys tell, like, do you remember the day when we had that dog that we were boarding and breeding? And Pepper started to have her puppies, and she had had six puppies. And then all of a sudden, the lady calls me and says it's the very last day to do stud service with her female. And I had to drive all the way up to Tucson and leave you guys with Pepper to do the whelping by yourself. Do you remember that?
I do
Yeah.
remember that, but I'm
Oda
not.
did most of the whelping.
Tell me, how did it go? What was it like?
It was actually kind of fun. I always love. I don't know why, but I have this weird. People might be grossed out what I'm about to say, but I kind of like the smell of fresh puppies.
Like the puppies more than like not the whelping, but like the fresh puppy afterwards.
The fresh puppy smell afterwards. Yeah, I just
Like once they're dry, not like wet, soggy puppy.
Yeah.
kind of when they're like more dampish. I mean, this is kind of weird, but like just smell good.
It smells like new life.
Yes.
I think because it means something now. So it wasn't a big deal. So how was it? So Pepper was having puppies and you had to be there. So how did that go?
I'd honestly say it was just a bunch of waiting game, getting the fluid out of their nose, and then you just give it to the mom and she does the rest.
Not too bad, huh?
Kind of easy, to be honest.
hmm Yeah, it was funny. Do you remember what you were doing, Hunter?
Watching Dakota.
Yeah. You were like sitting there on your iPad, like sending me videos and texting me, and we have another. We have another.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
Another and another and another and another.
It was crazy because, for all of you listening, I thought that Pepper would have maybe like nine puppies and she had 13. So I left thinking we had like three more, that I'd probably be back for the last one to be born because I was going to be gone. It was an hour drive up and back, plus like a half an hour there. And she just had so many puppies. They just kept coming and coming and coming.
He didn't have enough teeth to whelp the entire litter at once.
Yeah, she couldn't nurse the whole litter.
Not even not even if you stack them on top of each other.
Hmm.
She
Yeah,
really has like
it was crazy.
yes.
She had nine or 10 teats, I think. I think she was off because she had one that had kind of merged into one. But yeah, I think she had
Ooh.
nine. And so, yeah, that was a pretty crazy litter. But you guys did it. It was awesome. And I felt so comfortable with you doing it. Could you do it again?
Mm. I I wish I was here when Chickadee had her first litter
She
because
went overnight.
I know.
We
I
didn't
wish
even know
I
she was going to have them. I know. It was like we were just off on our days.
was
Hmm.
yeah. But she definitely, and I'm not trying to offend any of our other dogs, but I would have to say her litter was the cutest.
You think so, huh? It was a really cute litter, wasn't it?
So cute.
I know. They were very cute.
One, I'm gonna tell you guys this, but like one puppy in the litter, my best friend really loved, and she was so sad when he went home.
Yeah, that happens. Your friends are getting to that age where they like bond with every puppy they hold, and it should be good marketing. We should sell more dogs from this. This is good. Oh man. What
Yeah,
about you?
poor Kylie. She loved Daisy or something.
Yeah, everybody loved Daisy. You couldn't go wrong. She's so cute. Daisy was one of the little rat terriers. So what do you think, you guys, with the GSPs and rat terriers? What's the differences? Good or bad?
The rat terriers are smarter.
Oh, for sure.
There's
Hmm.
no debate there.
Yeah.
I would say I really like the birdiness in the GSPs, but the rat terriers on how crazy they are, it's just a little bit more funny to see.
Do you think the rat terriers are funnier
Yeah.
or more
Since
funnier?
they're smarter, they do weirder stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. They're a little bit more quirky, I think, the rat terriers. And then the GSPs, they're kind of lunatics, I think. Does that seem about right?
They are lunatics.
It's the kind of thing where Jeannie will chase a bird that is flying way faster than she can run for 30 seconds.
Yeah, and you're kind of just like, what are you doing? Yeah,
Because
definitely.
the bird's already like quarter mile ahead of her, so
Hmm.
don't even know why she's chasing it.
Yeah. Do you notice any difference in the puppies?
Um,
Big size.
Wolf size, yes, for sure. GSPs are much bigger.
I would say the difference is when we're litter box training,
Hmm.
the rat terriers just pick it up so fast.
They do. Yeah, they're very quick. Like 3, 4 days, and they're pretty much got it figured out. And the GSP, well,
Couple weeks, and this letter is old enough to go home, and they still don't even know.
sometimes, right? Sometimes. I know.
We have a letter right now. It's old enough to go home. Don't they still don't know?
No, the GSP, we have 2 more weeks with them.
Uh,
Yeah, so they're getting it, but it's a process. Yeah. It's getting better though. They are getting closer to getting everything in the litter box. Not perfect.
They
Yeah.
got everything on one side.
Yeah.
still pretty good.
It's still pretty good. All right, what's the grossest moment you've ever seen in dog breeding or been a part of?
The grossest
Yeah.
placenta.
Oh, placentas, they just gross you out?
Yeah, they're weird.
Just when they come out or when they eat them?
Just the color. They're weird.
Oh, yeah, they're really dark. Yeah.
I would say the grossest part in my experience with dog breeding was probably when a dog has puppies and then like there's just like this overflow of like weird random mystery looking fluids that come after the puppy.
Oh, just like all the extra fluid that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. It's just very wet. It's a lot more wet than you think sometimes.
It's like a very pond-ish, but it's had a little gelatin poured in it, so it's like goopy.
Mm-hmm. Kind of gross, yeah. So you like the smell, you just don't like the texture.
Well, not the texture, it's the smell of the fresh puppies.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
They just smell so good you want to eat them. Like, Don't do that. Don't do
Um,
that.
well, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast.
No problem. I've been waiting a while to be able to do this.
Any final thoughts you want to share? Any advice for breeders who have kids helping?
Don't overwork your kids. It's just this advice.
Does it
Okay.
help? Does it help that you get paid every week?
Yeah.
That kind of make up for some of the pain in the butt
Annoying
stuff.
parts, the gross parts.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think, Dakota? Any advice for moms with kids?
I would say probably just go with the flow. That's all I can think of.
Go with the flow with your kids? With kids?
Yeah, like don't you don't really want to force anything related to dog breeding to them if they don't
You
want
don't.
to do it. That way they don't feel like it's a chore instead of something actually amazing in this world.
Makes sense. I probably screwed that up a couple times.
Mm-mm.
It's been a couple.
Uh,
Couple times. Couple times.
Yeah. I think it's been good. And I think there's been times where it was frustrating, right? Because we couldn't take a trip or something because we have puppies on the ground or, so there's been some times that it was frustrating. But then it also allows me to be home, which is nice. So we do have some
Yeah, it's nice
flexibility
having our mom like at our house.
during the day. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
All right. And I'll see you guys at dinner.
See you at dinner.
Well, probably in about 5 minutes. But
And everybody, good luck.